I'm in the midst of setting up the second day of Ausculum. Here's what's left. Doesn't say anything about troops not being depleted still. So these guys who have been routed once in the game are still going to be depleted. This is what's available. A lot of Roman units compared to the amount of Greek units. But one thing I forgot to note, didn't know about, whatever. Even the units that were routed off the board have a chance of coming back. So these are units that'll be back on the board, depleted with some cohesion hits at the beginning of the day. And these are the new route levels. 343 for the Greeks, 203 for the Romans. It makes sense that, a night's recovery will bring the army back closer and into more of a fighting shape, and that some of the units, the stragglers, etc., would have been recovered perhaps. Maybe what doesn't make as much sense, a couple of these units are elephant units, which there are specific rules. Those elephants, when they rout, they rampage and then they're killed. Well, some of the elephants may not have been killed, whatever. Of note, neither of the couple of phalanx units that the Greeks had came back. And that's a lot of the points. What are they, 70 points each, so that's pretty big. Yeah, and these guys were 30 each. Alright, so I'll go back to setting up. I left the Triarii in place. I think I'm going to leave them there. That's as good a place as any for them, and they didn't go anywhere. But everything else gets to be reset up, and the Romans then get another chance to reposition one of their legions. So, same setup as before. Just a few less pieces, a few more damaged pieces. Start of the second day here at Ausculum. Pyrrhus does not want to bring his light troops in and risk the camp. He thinks his cav is more important, which is what he'd be losing if there's a successful raid. Things are set up a little differently. He's able to set up right against the river line, and he's put his big heavy phalanx in the center there. He's got some archers on the wing. The elephants that are back on a wing. He wants to try to crack this as fast as possible and see what he can do. His force looks tiny though. He's pulled back a lot and pretty much ceded this territory. The Romans can just march into there now. He's gambling it all on a victory here. If the Romans come across here, well, then I guess he'll engage them, but we saw that wasn't as painful for the Romans to cross the river as it is perhaps for the Greeks still. Alright, let's go on. So Pyrrhus opens up with his elite action and just smashes everything forward. 2 archers firing, a couple of phalanxes, some light infantry of all things, and a couple elephants on the flank. And a couple Roman units routed, but an elephant was lost. It ran down this way. It's not going to be easy to break this line. At first it looked like maybe when the elephants started cracking the sides, etc. But it was sturdy there for a reason, and it's still gonna be sturdy there. Even this is about the best that I could hit it with at this point, and it's not going anywhere. Okay, so we've got the 19th Legion, which was badly mauled yesterday and was put on this end of the line position just because that was probably the safest place for them. Actually crossing the river, now they're having trouble because they're pretty fatigued. Some of the units had to stop partway, at the swamp or whatever in order to get a recovery, but I had a whole line set there so I could do a line movement, could It's the first turn. Over here, the Greeks pushed their elephant another space further, and this was really a chancy move. The elephant was 1 point from breaking, but it managed to do a flank attack. Both units break, but the damage that it did to the Romans was enough that it broke harder. And the way the system works is only one unit, only both forces cannot entirely break. At least one unit has to survive. And that worked out to the elephant's advantage. This was probably the only way to save the thing. And it actually eliminated the Roman legionary unit. So we're kind of munching along the line here. Romans have to get some more forces into place down here, or else, you know, the Greek army is just going to be able to slide down towards terrain that's better for an offensive. Alright, guess that's it. And the elephants just keep rocking. Brought another leader in, and the same effect. The elephant ends up next to an enemy unit, so it has to make a check. As long as it makes that check, it goes 1 point below breaking, which means you can still activate it to act, and it goes in again and rolls on, you know, the 13 column because it's a flank attack and breaks the legion because the legion takes more damage. In this case, it was 2 to 8. I'm not sure it can do it to this one because this one's only got 1 hit against it, but it's done a lot of damage. Now, I think the Romans have to do something about it and actually engage it. They also have to bring that second line into play, so well, we'll see what happens. Well, the Romans attacked that final elephant. They also attacked up here and promptly routed away from the phalanx. That was a close run thing. Basically, they had a bad initial shock check. Otherwise, they would have routed the phalanx. They're going to make some checks here, but the Romans killed that elephant, but it went in and rampaged around and caused quite a bit of damage. And we're going to advance. And now we have some checks here. This guy is in worse morale than he was. And he holds but drops down 1. See, this is what's cool. This guy has to think. No, he's fine. And this guy's fine. Okay. So basically, if you're within 1 of your morale, you have to make a check to see if you stand when something's changed and you're facing an enemy who either wasn't there or you just fought around or whatever. Alright. See if we get a continuation over here. And we do, so he's going to try to rally some more of his forces. So the Romans are deciding to up the ante a little bit. They were crossing over here, and the Greek moved their cav and some of their medium infantry into place to intercept it, and then Decius Mus, who's not the commander-in-chief, pushed some of his infantry legion across so that a distribution of commanders and resources has to be made across the line by the Greeks. Right now they're heavily committed over here, and although the Romans think that they could probably hold that, they want to engage further across the line. They want to see what they can do to the Greek army as a whole, or maybe bag the whole thing. They feel like they have a numerical superiority right now. They may not, but they feel like they do. Well, the turn ended in a kind of an exciting way. Sulpicius crossed with another legion's forces. Yeah, this yellow is the 14th, I believe. To try to strengthen this line, and Pyrrhus attempted to trump and failed, which meant Pyrrhus is finished, and Sulpicius got the momentum action he had. He wanted another momentum action, he didn't get that, If he had, he would have been hitting these lights and trying to drive them out the way, strengthen the line up closer to those phalanxes. But as it is, he's got a pretty good line of Legion units here. It's not precisely where he wants them, but it'll do. Elsewhere, see the Greeks trying to react and fighting some of the legionnaires who are crossing the river. But the Romans are definitely taking the initiative and trying to attack here. Points-wise, for the end of the turn, what do we got? We got 60 Greek points for those elephants. And we got 15 Romans, which puts them up to 243. We don't have to worry about the turn anymore. This one goes on forever, as do most of the games. But yeah, it doesn't look great for the Greeks. It really doesn't. But we'll see if I'm taking too big a risk with the Romans. It's part of why I did it. I want this to be a kind of interesting battle, actually.